And we are back for yet another exciting episode of the Patriots Only Please podcast. Listen, now we might be kind of heading into X-Files territory here for a second because there's been some activity, unexplained activity. Now, normally we don't discuss, we don't get into like UFOs or now as they're called UAPs, but I mean, it's newsworthy. So,
Yes, it is.
yeah, so we're going to be talking about it. But before we do that, we just want to remind everybody to go check us out at patriotsonlyplease.com. Get on the mailing list. Check out some of our previous episodes. It's all there. And of course, if you like to get social like we do, please like, subscribe, and follow at Patriots Only Please on your favorite social media app of choice. All right, so let's dig into this. Mr. Soli, come on. What are we talking about today? Is this aliens?
How many people out there are not old like we are and don't know what X-Files is? I'm not kidding, because it's kind of an old reference, man. I mean, I think that's showing off the air in what, 1990?
Well, but they did a couple of seasons in like 2018. So they
They
came back
did. Okay.
and they did two movies. So and David Duchovny's still out there. So, I mean,
Yeah. I guess it's still
so,
in the zeitgeist. It's
yeah,
still out there.
that's a $20 word, zeitgeist.
It
Come
sure
on.
is.
Look
It
at
sure
that.
is.
So we're here to talk about all kinds of crazy stuff with as many $20 words as possible. So you have the floor.
I do. I think that the drone thing is interesting for a lot of reasons because, as Trump said, Trump spoke to the press at length today. Fascinating speech, by the way. And I have to say, he really sounded very presidential. He was calm, cool, no Trumpy stuff, no outrageous, because he won. There's no more campaigning. There's no more rallying. There's no more proving anything. He's the president now, president elect. But I thought he spoke very presidentially and very commandingly about a lot of things. And his take on the drones was the U.S. There's no doubt the U.S. military knows where they're being launched from, where they're going. The fact that they're in our airspace means they're either friendly or allowed to be there. He wasn't concerned that much. He said, listen, if they were enemy drones, we'd blow them out of the sky. They're in our airspace. We would disintegrate them. So it's not that. But what he was disappointed about, and I share his concern, was that why isn't the Biden administration telling the American people what's going on? I mean, they have a right to know what's above our house, man. What is that? Why aren't they being more? Why aren't they disclosing this?
Well, or are they complicit? Is this something that they perhaps know about? I tend to think this is. I mean, look, as much as I would love for this to be aliens and we can take them to our current leaders so they can take them back with them, that would be great. But I don't think that this is aliens, and I think that this is probably something more nefarious. In fact, for those of you out there, maybe somebody, by the way, we are streaming live right now on X and Rumble and YouTube, and also on TikTok as well. For those of you that are out there that are interested in this kind of thing, certainly people like Alex Jones, and he was talking about this. They shared a video today by this fellow name, I believe his name is John Ferguson, and he is the CEO of a company called Saxon Aerospace. And what they do is their job is to design these kinds of drones that are used like military grade drones. They sell these to the military. So he had an interesting take. There's a couple of people that have been, this video has been floating around. We of course have procured this video as well. So if you'd like, we can play this. It's a little on the long side, but it goes into a lot of the details and kind of explains what I think is probably the most logical take on this issue. So check this out. Like I said, it goes for a minute, several minutes, but it's worth watching if you haven't seen it, and then we can kind of dissect this. So check this out, Mr. John Ferguson of Saxon Aerospace.
Here in Wichita, Kansas. I'm not normally a TikTok kind of a guy. I like watching this stuff every once in a while. But I'm a manufacturer of unmanned aircraft, military grade unmanned aircraft, as you can see one of my systems here. There's all of these mysterious drones going on off the East Coast, and as a professional, as a subject matter expert, I wanted to give you all my opinion on what I think could be going on with these drones. I don't particularly believe that these have a nefarious intent. I could be wrong, but I want to give you the truth and what I believe. It's my own opinion, and I've not bounced this off of anybody. So, if you think it's bullshit, whatever, that's cool. I don't want to spread misinformation, as we know that there's a lot of that going around. But anyway, back in the 1980s, Ronald Reagan had dismantled the nuclear program, and there were, with Russia, there were countless nuclear missiles that were disarmed and disposed of. Well, there were over 80, I believe. There were over 80 nuclear warheads that were in Ukraine that came up missing. Okay, we don't know where they are. Maybe somebody does, but nobody really knows where these are. And I speak with some pretty high-level government officials on this stuff, and it seems as though that is the case. So I spoke to a gentleman a few months ago who was trying to raise an alarm to the highest levels of our government, which they had their ears closed, about this one particular nuclear warhead that he physically put his hands on. He physically touched this warhead that was left over from Ukraine. And he knew that that thing was headed towards the United States. Okay? That is a very serious deal. And everyone knows that the United States government, this administration, is pushing to get into a war with Russia. We all know that. We all feel it. We all see it. Okay? Well, back up a few years. Do y'all remember when those drones were mysteriously flying across the Interstate 70 corridor from Colorado up into Nebraska, down here into Kansas, and out into Missouri? Well, it was believed that those drones were looking for radioactive material because there had been some material that come up missing here in the United States, and they felt like it was high probability that the nuclear or the radioactive material would be taken along the Interstate 70 corridor heading east or west or south. So from what we understand, they were out there trying to find this radioactive material. Now, drones, they have no reason to be in the air at night unless you're doing some type of ISR work, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, looking for bad guys, or looking for a victim, a search and rescue victim, or law enforcement, or some type of military project, right? There's no reason for a drone to be flying at night, really, okay? Because they don't see shit. So, unless you have thermal optics, drones really don't see stuff. You need to do mapping during the day. If you're going to do farming stuff, you mostly do it during the day. The only reason why you would ever fly an unmanned aircraft at night, is if you're looking for something, whether it be a person or trying to smell gas. We have methane gas detection systems that can detect gas leaks in pipelines. You really wouldn't use thermal optics for trying to find gas leaks, just simply because the only way you're actually going to find a gas leak with thermal optics is if the gas leak is aggressive enough that it has a difference in temperature. Because thermal imaging, it creates a digital image based off of the temperature variance. So whatever is different in temperature, it creates an image. Usually gas leaks so slow that it goes quickly into ambient before you can even see it. So we have special sensors that can detect gas leaks. We also have special sensors that can detect radioactive material. So with this gentleman that I had spoken with, who was trying to raise the alarm to try to get somebody in the government to say, hey, we need to work together to go try to find this nuclear warhead. None of that ever happened. They knew that warhead was on its way to the United States. That's all that ever came of it. Nothing ever happened. This government did not do anything at all to help this gentleman raise the alarm and raise awareness that there is a very deadly weapon on its way to the United States. It's out there. Nobody knows where it's at now. It left Europe. Now it's gone. So my guess, my own guess, is that these drones are not nefarious in intent. If they are, they are, but I doubt it. But if they are drones, the only reason why they would be flying and flying that low is because they're trying to smell something on the ground. That's it. There's no other reason for a drone to be flying in the air other than to piss a bunch of people off at night. That's it. So my belief is they're trying to smell something on the ground. Gas leaks, radioactive material, whatever. So, and do I think that that they're coming up out of the ocean? No, I don't think so. Drones that are multi-copter type drones, not the the fixed wing aircraft that look like regular airplanes, but the multi-copters, they only have so much battery life. They have hybrid versions that are gas powered with electric, but those can still only fly for a short period of time. There's no way in hell that any drone is going to go miles off the coast as a multi-copter and fly into the interior of the United States and do a bunch of work and then turn around and fly back. It's just physics will not allow that to happen. So these drones, I believe, are launched from a location that nobody knows, but I do believe that they're flying low enough that they're just trying to sniff the ground and try to find something. So again, I hate to be a pessimist or a guy that thinks directly to the negative. However, I know as a professional, we build professional stuff for the military. I believe that they're actually out there trying to smell something that's very important. So anyway, let me know what you think of this video. I'm not trying to gaslight. I'm not trying to scare people. I'm just trying to let people know that this is a serious deal. It's only serious for what the potential could be, or for what the potential is. There's a lot of them out there. They're flying all over. They're flying low. They're flying at night. There's no reason for it other than to smell something. So anyway, God bless. I hope you all have a wonderful Merry Christmas, and let me know what you think of the video. Thank you.
Reaction. Are we live?
Yeah. We're back.
My immediate reaction is that I had Taco Bell for lunch today. I think it might have been, and I saw a drone following me back to my car, and there was definitely a gas leak. I tell you,
you've
definitely. Let me tell you, man.
You've seen the meme that Trump posted, haven't you? About what the drones? It was hilarious. So he just posted this, I think, yesterday or the day before, and this was from Trump's account on Twitter or X, and it was, they said, I think we've solved the mystery, and it was drones flying a bunch of because it was over New Jersey, so it was a bunch of drones flying a bunch of McDonald's to Chris Christie. So once again, our president is the king of the trolls. But seriously, this could be. Look, there was a lot of nuclear weapons that were unaccounted for after the fall of the USSR. Who knows where a lot of those ended up? Who knows if some of those were still kind of kept somewhere secretly in Russia? Obviously, thank God, none of those have been used in the recent skirmish between Russia and Ukraine. But this could be a pretty serious thing. And coming from a pretty credible source who does this and sells this kind of technology to the military. So I don't know. Aside from cow farts. I mean, what could your take be on this?
Well, again, my take would be it would behoove our government to inform its citizenry, us, what they think it is. They have to
Hmm.
know. I mean,
Sure.
meteorologists on TV can figure out the weather. I mean, we have NASA. We have. I mean, they know what's up, and plus we have Elon Musk. I haven't heard Elon saying much about it. He would. I mean, this guy puts rockets in space. So I don't. I'm not alarmed. I'm once again let down that this administration hasn't informed the
Hmm.
American people of what they think it is. They have to have an idea of what's flying in our airspace. Every
Sure.
country's airspace is proprietary. So what is it commercial? Is it what is it? But to not let us know and if let it, this is what happens when this is what happens. This fervor is what happens when the government doesn't tell the people what's going on,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or the
There's no
media.
transparency. Yeah.
Right,
Or the media.
exactly.
Yeah. There's no
Or the
transparency.
media.
And the problem is nobody, to your point, nobody knows what's going on. There's nobody saying anything, but on some level, we think they know because it's the government. So they got to know what's going on. But, now could it be because they don't want to cause any mass panic or whatever? But still, we also know that as Biden leaves, they've been wanting to plunge us into another forever war. They're going to do whatever they can to sabotage Trump's presidency, whether
Right.
that, whether that means, not confirming his cabinet appointees or not, or plunging us into another war. So I don't put anything beyond this current administration. I think that they are capable and totally willing to do whatever they can. But it makes no sense. I mean, why sabotage the incoming president? I don't know. Maybe because they're afraid of any prosecutions down the road. But Biden seems to be taking care of that with all of his pardons. So,
Well, I was going to say the drones don't have to worry. I'm sure Biden will pardon the drones at some point.
of
Let's
course,
go.
yeah,
Oh,
of
that
course,
thing over there. You go. Full
yeah,
clemency for the
yeah. And if they are aliens,
unconditional
he'll pardon
pardon.
the aliens. Jeez.
I just don't know much about it. I mean, I like he said, if they're there, if they're smelling something, again, why? I mean, can't states step in? Like if it's flying over New Jersey, doesn't New Jersey have the right to know what's going on in their airspace? Let alone call NASA. I mean, I'm surprised there haven't been like talking heads that come forward at the press conferences and go, "This is what we think the drones are. Or this is definitively what they are. Don't worry about it. They're weather balloons. They're whatever." But
Well,
I mean,
they're
come
they're
on.
they're too busy saying they don't know what it is. I mean that's been the line.
Right.
They haven't even thrown any theories out there. They just said we don't know what it is. Well, interestingly enough, they're saying we don't know what it is, but it doesn't pose a threat. Well, if it
Yeah.
doesn't pose a threat, then how do you know that it doesn't pose a threat if you don't know what it is? So once again, it just speaks to the fact that this administration, as all they can do is lie and be
Yes.
dishonest with the American public. And and one more reason that it's just a beautiful thing that this incoming administration is, from what we believe is going to be mostly transparent and
Yep.
truthful, and everything's going to be
Yep.
out there in the open.
Yep.
I think that if Trump were officially in charge as of right now, we would know what's going on. Either we would have shut one of them down and opened it up and took a look, or we certainly would have gotten to the bottom of why these things are flying around and why are they mostly flying around in that one spot, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, some people have seen them in different areas. I know they've been spotted other places, but the New Jersey drones are kind of what's been getting all of the news. But
It
again,
sounds like a hockey. It sounds like a hockey team.
New Jersey,
New Jersey drones. No, it's
Las
not funny.
Vegas Knights,
Yeah,
Golden
Las
Knights.
Vegas Knights. Well, if we can pivot from the drones,
Sure.
I've been paying attention a lot to coverage about the incoming Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency,
Yeah.
what Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are going to be working on, and man, they are uncovering just so much blatant waste, corruption. For example, I heard Jesse Waters talking about this on Fox. There's a company in Wisconsin, swing state,
Hmm.
Oshkosh Construction or something, Oshkosh Consulting. They're a defense contractor, the owner of whom is a huge Democrat donor. Okay,
Oh wow.
they
Okay.
got a $3 billion no tax contract to make electric mail delivery cars, mail trucks, electric powered mail trucks. Okay, $3 billion. They're supposed to make 22,000 of these things. Guess how many they made?
Zero.
It cost $32 million per truck to make one. Just so you know, as a point of reference, a Formula One, the best, fastest, cutting edge car in the world, costs less than half of that. $32 million per mail truck. Now, if that's not a political handout, I don't know what is, right? Democratic donor, the owner's a Democratic donor. Here's $3 billion. Make a bunch of electric
Mhm.
mail trucks for us. They made like 60 of them at $32 million a pop.
Well, those are, yeah,
That's why bacon's $11 a pound, guys. That's why
thousand
everything's
percent.
so expensive.
1,000%. And you know what? Those electric mail trucks will go very nicely with the billions that they spent with it for all those electric charging stations. Which, oh, by the way, is there one? Maybe, I don't know. Zero? I'm not sure how many they built. I don't think that any. But it speaks volumes to the government waste. And I had this conversation last night. I was at a Christmas party, having a conversation with a good friend of mine who happens to be, left leaning, as a lot of our friends are in
Sure.
music and entertainment and all that.
Yep.
And look, I just explained. I said, who doesn't want the government to run more efficient? Who doesn't want to know that their tax dollars are actually going for something that's going to benefit them? And I had to explain to them, because they still kept talking in these Republican versus Democrat kind of terms. And I said, look, this has gone way beyond that. It's not Democrat and Republican. It is the America First movement is its own party. That's why so many people are coalescing, into this movement and getting behind Trump. There are people out there that may not think that obviously Trump is the right guy, or maybe think he's not the perfect messenger. I will take an imperfect messenger that's going to clean up Washington, get more transparency in elections and government in general. I just think that's something that the whole country can get behind. And more people, we saw it during the election with, people going from Democrat swinging back to Republican.
Yep.
But again, it's so much bigger than that.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I completely agree, and they're uncovering thousands of examples of things like this, where just so much money gets lost and they can't find it. It's gone. I mean, every major department in the government's failed its audit for the last 4 or 5 years. The Defense Department, by the way, the U.S. Postal System gets bailed out to the tune of like $25 billion a year. It's never made money or even broken even. It only loses money. And now that and Trump was actually in that same speech to the journalists today, he was actually talking about perhaps not nationalizing, but having like privatizing the mail service. I mean, FedEx, Amazon, and UPS do a way better job. Maybe, I don't know. It's nice to have a business people taking a look at this stuff and finding real world practical solutions to save taxpayers money.
Sure. And what they're uncovering is not only all of the waste that we all could pretty much guess has been going on for so long, but also the reasons why, which is the same as we've all suspected, that it's all just one massive money laundering scheme. They're taking from the taxpayers. They're putting up basically shell services like the post office, like the Department of Education, like all of those things, and just running it through them and then enriching themselves. Yep. So I'm here for it. The first order of business is to keep Trump as safe as possible.
Yes.
And everybody in that administration as safe as possible. Let's get all of these appointees confirmed, these nominations. Right. We need Kash Patel. We need RFK. We need Tulsi. We need all of them. And let them go to work. The beautiful thing about Doge is that it's, from what I understand, and anybody who's watching, thank you, by the way. We actually have some decent numbers today on X. Thank you so much, everybody who's watching. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Doge is not necessarily. They don't need to be appointed. They don't need to go through the confirmation hearings. It's Vivek and Elon pretty much volunteering their time and talents and abilities, and they're going to get this agency ramped up. And it's designed to close. It's not meant to last forever. Although, depending on how good of a job they do, if they don't become the monster that they're trying to kill, then I don't mind them sticking around for a
Right.
while, because I think that accountability is definitely going to be needed for the forever, for the long
Right.
haul. You know,
Right.
because my
I think
biggest fear is that we have these great 4 years, and then we just go back to, I mean, I don't want just 4 good years. You know what I mean? I want this to set up the next fantastic 100 years or 200 years.
the
So
next generation at least.
yeah.
Newt Gingrich was talking today on Fox about how he thinks the first order of business in terms of legislation should be tax cuts. Like while they have the supermajority, while they're coming off this incredible election landslide, push
Mhm.
through the tax cuts before July, before May 31st, really, before they go into session, because that way Americans will start feeling the lifting of all this price gouging and deregulation. It'll make everyone's lives so much better before 2028, before the next election
Sure.
cycle, before the next midterms, so people understand like this really was just Biden, too many regulations, too many taxes, too much red tape. Get all that out of there. Let capitalism do its thing, and everyone's life is better. They have more money in their pocket. No tax on tips. Let's stop taxing Social Security. Taxes aren't the answer, guys, because they collect the government collects our taxes. They go into a general fund, and then they go into the ether. Where do they go?
Well, they
They
go into their
pay
pockets. Yeah,
they go in
sure.
their pockets, but they go to pay the deficit on the $36 trillion deficit. I mean, we're paying. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
it needs to stop. So I think the tax cut should be the first priority in terms of in terms of their legislation to get so people feel average Americans feel the impact of it immediately. Like, oh my God, like this weight has been lifted. This economic weight has been lifted. You know that was
Absolutely. Look, between tax cuts and becoming energy independent, I mean, that right there is going to, send ripples and just help the country immensely. I mean, look, and there's other things that are happening as well. I mean, there's look, we can obviously curbing the illegal immigration, which
100%.
interestingly enough, I mean, now the Biden administration is trying to sell the materials for the border wall. I mean, like they're stopping at nothing to completely pull the rug out of the next administration. But I think Trump and his team, they're all prepared for it. I think Trump has already, been going out. He's the president. I mean, effectively at this point, he's been
I
going
agree.
out there and kind of mending those fences, literally, and saying, "Look, don't do anything until I get in. Whatever this
Right.
crazy old guy does, whatever their administration does, just don't pay attention. Just hang on." I
Right.
think that's kind of his strategy, because they know. I think and beyond that, they've probably already had some pretty deep conversations, and negotiations have already begun anyway. So
Yep.
right now, the world is just waiting for Biden to leave. They're just waiting for January 20th for Inauguration Day.
I agree.
So again, just God, please keep Trump and everybody in that administration as safe as possible.
100%. We're seeing the
Mhm.
crypto market explode because Trump's been even more solid on the whole cryptocurrency being part of the economy, being one of our national reserve currencies like
Mhm.
gold, which is fantastic. Elon Musk is a big advocate of Bitcoin. Trump was
Mhm.
the keynote speaker at the Bitcoin conference this year. So if you're a crypto holder or thinking about it, it's a great time to get in. The dollar is going to get stronger. I mean, we're already heading toward this golden era. We just need Biden to get out of there, not muck it up too badly before he does, and Trump's going to
Mhm.
come in ready to rock. So
Yeah.
I'm very, very excited about January 20th. Everyone watching this podcast should be as well. We'd love it if you guys would reach out to us and communicate with us. Let us know what you want us to talk about next. But the drone thing was fascinating because I don't think it's going to be a lasting problem in our country, but I do think needs to be addressed. I think the people that govern us should tell us what the hell it is. Like what do you experts think this really is? And don't say it's nothing. It's not nothing. So I mean, give us some answers, please.
Sure,
You know?
sure. And look, if it ever does, if the aliens ever do land, then I would certainly want our government to tell us what's going on. So I think a lot of stuff is going to be revealed. I mean, this is going to we're what's it's the old Chinese curse that may you live in interesting times, right? Well,
Yes,
we are living
yes,
in very interesting times.
yes.
So yeah, I mean, I don't have much more to say about
Yeah.
the topic unless you do. I mean,
Nope.
we are at about 30 minutes. And so
Yep.
again, we want to thank everybody who follows us and watches the live.
TikTok.
Yes, TikTok and X and Rumble and YouTube and everywhere. And again, we are probably the easiest people to find, but definitely check us out at patriotsonlyplease.com. We're pretty easy to find on the interwebs.
Yeah.
And again, like, follow, and subscribe on your social media app of choice at Patriots Only Please. I think on X it is Patriots Only Pulse, PLS.
Yes.
It's a little different. So anybody who's watching, because we see you guys are watching out there, thank you so much. And you can obviously just follow us on there, but it's Patriots Only PLS because we ran out of characters, I guess. Now that we're premium members, they should let us expand our username. So anyway, we got to take that straight to Elon. So if anybody has any influence with the powers that be, Elon, just let them know that we want our full name in our handle. Yeah. So there you go. So as usual, I'm Jeff C. and you are
Mr. Soli.
There we go. I like how you, Mr. Soli. I like you get it's the little. It's
more
classy.
European. It's more European.
It's Europeans classic. We don't want to be anything like the Europeans, except I don't know, maybe with
their cheese, maybe their cheese,
their cheese is good. Yeah, their language is good. The women are beautiful. Most of them, some of them. So there you go. All right. So until next time, we shall see you guys again. And I always like to leave you with the last word, Mr. Soli.
Keep on trumping.
Love it. All right. Till next time. See you then.